Hi everyone, welcome to week 24 of sock season, April 7th through 13th, 2024. I'm Carol, host of A Stitch in Time, and I can be found on Ravelry as Knits and Pearls. I am going to conclude this video series by wrapping up another series, the Knitter's Curiosity Cabinet by Hunter Hammersen. Today I'm going to show you all 9 sock designs from volume 3, which was published in 2014 by Pantsville Press. Like volumes 1 and 2, the designs in this book were inspired by vintage illustrations such as this one. Only this time around, the 9 socks and 9 accessories were inspired by marine prints. So different types of sea creatures and plants. Unfortunately, these books are no longer being published, but you may be able to get your hands on a secondhand copy, or maybe you can find one in your library. Hunter does make some of her retired patterns available periodically, and you can find out when by signing up for her newsletter or following her on Instagram. And I've learned she also has a Patreon account. Like the first 2 books in the series, all of the designs in volume 3 have Latin names, in this case derived from the marine plant or creature which inspired the design. And I will once again do my best to pronounce them correctly. But just in case I mess them up, I will put them on the screen so you can see what I am trying to say. If you're interested in seeing the vintage illustrations that inspired all of the designs, I will be providing links to all of my Ravelry project pages for all of the socks that I show you today. And from there, you can follow a link to the pattern page on Ravelry, and there you will find the illustrations. This week's first design is Conferva velosa, which is a type of marine plant. And so I decided to knit these socks in green. This is the Loopy U Solid Series yarn in the celery colorway. And these socks feature a cabled rib. So you can see how the ribbing begins in the cuff, flows down into the design. The ribbing flows out of the design at the back of the sock onto the heel flap, and then on the instep it flows into a ribbed toe. So once again, I'll give you a really good close-up here. And a look at the pair on the sock blockers, and then as always I will give you a model shot for each design, because it's one thing to see socks on a sock blocker, but it's another to see it on a real live human foot. The second design in the book is called Fucus asparagoides, and as you might surmise from that name, that is a marine plant that resembles asparagus. And according to the notes, when it is fresh, it is a beautiful, deep, transparent crimson. And so I chose a crimson yarn for my socks. This is yarn from the Simply Socks Yarn Company. It's their post yarn in the Padina base, and this is the Lake Hillier colorway. And it is a beautiful yarn which nicely shows off this lovely lace pattern. So it begins with a twisted rib, and then this pattern flows all the way down the sock, ends with a twisted rib toe, and then a garter rib heel flap. So again, I'll give you a really good look. There you have them here, and now you can see them on my feet. Sock number 3 is Planorbis corneus, and this design is based on an illustration of some shells that closely resemble snail shells or ammonites. This yarn is from Hazel Knits. It's the artisan sock base in the Song Sparrow colorway, and I'm pretty sure I got this as part of a sock yarn club from Hazel Knits. So it is dark. Back here it's hard to see the design, but let me bring this in closer and you'll see once again this sock features a ribbed cable design. So starts with ribbing in the cuff. This beautiful cabling flows out of there into a ribbed heel flap all the way down the instep to a ribbed toe. So this yarn is blown out a little bit as you look at it, but that allows you to see all of the beauty of the design, which make for a beautiful pair, which you can now see here while I'm wearing them. The illustration in the book for Limnius stagnalis depicts some spiral shells with a similar shape to this one, although some have a much pointier tip to them. So that gives you a good idea of what inspired the designs. So I chose kind of a dark shell pink for my socks. This is handmade in Casba in the rose colorway. And when I bring these in closer, you will see this rounded spiraling cable that runs out of the heel flap, or out of the ribbing and the cuff, I should say, down into a ribbed heel flap and into a ribbed toe. So again, a really good close look. And the pair for you here, and of course on my feet. One of my favorite design names also happens to be one of the more difficult to pronounce. Serpula contortocata, also known as the twisted tube worm, which is a sedentary marine worm. You learn something new every day, don't ya? I knit mine from another colorway of the Simply Sock Yarn Post Patina yarn, this time in a gorgeous orange called Taj Mahal. And just wait till you see this design. Begins with a ribbed cuff, and then look at that cool stitch pattern that runs all the way down into a ribbed heel flap. And it is supposed to have a ribbed toe, but I just did mine in stockinette there. Isn't that something else? I think these are just gorgeous, and I look forward to wearing them this week. Pagianocdeuca is a type of jellyfish which inspired this sock design. This yarn is Knit Picks Stroll Tonal in the Deep Waters colorway, which I thought was rather appropriate. Unfortunately, the water is so deep that it is difficult for you to see the stitch pattern from a distance. And so I'm going to bring in the lighter of these two socks, whoops, and hopefully you will be able to see this tilting cable ribbed design that runs down the entire length of the sock. I think you should get a good look there. So it starts with a ribbed cuff, and the pattern does feature a ribbed heel flap and toe, but I chose to do a short row heel and just a plain stockinette toe. So again, I think you should be able to see that pretty well there. And as I alluded to, if you look at both socks side by side, you can see that one is darker, more saturated than the other. And as I've explained before, this is just something that sometimes happens with hand-dyed yarns with the way that they are dyed. And they're not perfect, but that's one of the unique qualities of a hand-dyed yarn. So again, one last look there. Well, that shot gives you a really good look. And then a model shot. Padina pavonia is a really cool looking seaweed called the peacock's tail, and its wavy structure inspired the wavy lines in this sock design. I knit these from Blue Moon Fiber Arts socks that rock lightweight in the Smoky Mountain Morn colorway. And I will bring these in so you can see them. It's like a feather and fan or old shale lace type of stitch pattern with garter ridges that runs down the whole sock. I substituted a plain stockinette toe and a short row heel for the ribbed heel flap and toe that were in the original pattern. I really like the way that this yarn knit up. It almost looks stripy to go along with the stripes of the garter ridges. These socks have a lot of movement and texture, and I think they're really lovely. I can't tell you much about Botus crassicornis other than it is a tentacled sea creature, but I can tell you it inspired a beautiful sock design. and I knit my socks from this absolutely spectacular yarn from Madeline Tosh. It is the Tosh sock base in the Spectrum colorway. And again, it's very dark, but I will bring it closer, and I hope you can appreciate both this beautiful wavy design that runs out of this ribbed cuff, and the colors are being blown out, but there's all these different colors against this saturated blue background. Has a ribbed heel flap, and the pattern does call for a ribbed toe, but I chose to do mine in plain stockinette. This yarn is absolutely spectacular, and I don't think the camera is doing it justice. So I had a little problem when I pulled these socks out to do the model shots. There was a little hole right near the end of the toe on one of the socks, which you may be able to see in the model shot. But I had some of the yarn left over, and it didn't take me very long to just rip back a few rows at the toe and reknit them. And I don't know if you can tell which one. I can't by looking at the camera, but actually, I thought I knew. I think it might be this one, but I honestly cannot tell, which is a good sign considering that I'm the one who did the work. So happy to rescue these and very much looking forward to also wearing them. Although it won't be until next week, because this is sock number 8, which means that the next pair is the 9th and final sock of the series. Drum roll, please. The 9th sock from the Knitter's Curiosity Cabinet Volume 3, and the final pair of socks for sock season is Zostera marina, which is a type of sea plant. I knit these from Impulse of Delight Summit Sock in the Green Rock colorway, and when I bring them in more closely, you will see this gorgeous swirled cable design that runs all the way down each sock. So again, starts with a ribbed cuff, works into a ribbed heel flap, and I substituted a plain stockinette toe, but there is a ribbed toe in the book. But look at that. Just captures the movement. You can just picture an undulating marine plant underwater, moving with the waves. Gorgeous. I think that's a fantastic pair to end the series on. And that is that. I cannot thank you enough for joining me on this journey and for providing me with the motivation I needed to pull my patterned hand knit socks out from under my bed and actually wear them this past fall and winter, many of them for the first time. You know, I was thinking about this last night, knowing that I would be recording the final episode today. I have a lot of socks. That's an understatement. Some people might say I have too many socks. They're entitled to their opinion. I have so many socks that I could not wear them all during one sock season. I still have 2 bags of patterned socks under my bed that I did not show you, plus 2 full drawers of plain vanilla socks. But you know what? I don't intend to stop knitting socks. I love knitting socks. I think they're just the perfect project. And I love wearing hand knit socks. Every time I pull on a pair of one of my hand knit socks, it brings me joy. It might be the yarn, it might be the pattern, it might be the memories knit into it, it might be all 3. And even though I do knit some socks for gifts, it's not the same as knitting them for myself. And maybe that sounds selfish, but it's true. And so I have no intention of stopping knitting socks. You know, an artist doesn't stop painting just because he or she runs out of walls to put their paintings on. And I think all of my pairs of socks are like little works of art. And I'm gonna keep on knitting those little works of art. Which isn't to say maybe it wouldn't hurt to rotate them. Just like many people rotate pictures on their walls. I am going to, going forward, be more mindful of striking a balance between wearing my plain vanilla socks and my patterned socks. Because I was really reminded as I pulled out pair after beautiful pair just how gorgeous some of these yarns are, how talented the designers are, and how exquisite some of my socks are. I tend towards simpler things these days, and when I look back at some of the intricate patterns that I knit and the time and effort that took, those should not be hidden away under my bed. They should be worn and enjoyed and celebrated. And that's what I intend to do. And on that philosophical note, if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And if you would like to see more sock knitting and other types of knitting and other types of crafting, be sure to check out regular episodes of A Stitch in Time. I thank you so much for watching and for all of your enthusiasm and kind comments and love that you have shown me over the past 24 episodes. And I so appreciate it. You will never know how much. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you again soon on a regular episode. Bye for now.